Hello, and thank you for joining us on episode 8 of the Dream Warrior Review. And I'm Kurt Thomas.
I'm Miq Strawn.
We just saw a movie, Halloween movie, and I'm going to have nightmares about it, but probably not for the reason that you would think.
Yeah. You're going to have technical nightmares is what you're going to have. So, what was the name of that film?
Boo 2, a Madea Halloween.
What surprised me is that how many films this guy has made, and technically how bad that film was. I mean, there were no shots that were interesting. There was no shots that were outside of the realm of the extremely standard class 101 filmmaking of, do the master shot and then go in on the two shot and then do the close-up and the close-up. And even that was really sloppily done. Yeah. But also, it just seemed to be an awful lot of talking in little groups. Yeah, and the quality of acting, particularly in the background, was just abysmal.
Well, I think Tyler Perry, okay. See, I've seen a lot of his movies, so
yeah. So
there's like
you have a benchmark by which to measure this crap.
Well, there's 3 Tyler Perry. The bad actor Tyler Perry, who tries to be a serious dramatic actor,
right?
And then there's the he does dramas that actually are very good, and he has better actors in usually, and better writing, and better.
But he's
shooting.
not in them.
Those are more professionally done, and he puts more money into the dramatic ones, and he actually is in them sometimes.
Oh,
like there's ones where he's married, and
but unless he's playing a woman,
like that one that they did the preview for, the Acrimony or whatever it was called.
Acrimony.
Yes.
Acrimony.
Anyway, so that might actually be a good movie. I think it has potential.
Yeah, but the problem is he does. One of the problems that you get when you are doing a multiple role is that in the multiple roles you have to find a differentiation between each character. And the thing is his main character, him as himself, as the main character, the way that he sets that character aside is by bad acting. Yeah. Just by being a piece of wood. And I don't know that works. See, I mean, I'm surprised. I haven't seen any of this series. Yeah. I would have figured that he would be much better at it.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like he used to do stage plays in Atlanta. I think it was in Atlanta. Maybe
how did he do? How did he do all the roles as?
But there's one where he has a gun. I can't remember the name of the movie. I'm blanking on it right now. But it's Madea, and she has a gun.
Madea, get your gun.
I don't know. But anyway, it was a stage play, and actually, I have a version of a couple of his movies. It's basically a recording of a stage play. And it's actually more interesting. So that's where the dialogue is coming in, I think.
Gotcha.
But,
okay.
So the comedies that I've seen that he does, and he has the multiple characters, the first few movies I saw were really good. I mean, he did a really good job of, and he actually had them all sitting it was more like the Dr. Dolittle, or not Dolittle, Nutty Professor.
No, right. Okay.
Where he had multiple characters. Eddie Murphy did that.
Eddie Murphy did it, but
Madea did it pretty well. But he's not the greatest actor. That's the problem. And the comedy, I think he makes his comedies more campy, if that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, but okay.
He uses amateur actors as a training ground for.
Yeah. Okay.
So the ones that make it move on.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can see.
I mean, it's Atlanta, Georgia.
It is in Atlanta, Georgia. I just assumed that he had been doing it long enough that he could.
I did
that
see,
he would be better than that.
And like you said, I had a frame of reference because I've seen a lot of the movies. Right. I think this was kind of a drop.
Was pretty low. Well, he just seemed to be having such amateur problems. Like one of the problems that he seemed to have is getting locked into the Madea talking circle, where he was Madea and rest of them. And the thing is you would think that he would be able to cut in and out of those in the story of the film, but he doesn't. When he lands on one of those, it goes from one end to the other. There is no breaking out of it and coming back to it. It finishes its piece of work, and then you go back into the rest of the film. And it was weird. I mean, let's face it. It was 2 movies, and one of them was in an old Cadillac.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it was a lot of moments where it was a stage play for 10 minutes.
Right.
And part of it was a scene that was supposed to be a scary scene, and it was like drawn out for like 10 minutes.
But you could also tell that they didn't want to get locked inside once they got once they got outside, they didn't want to go back inside. And this is a problem that you have when you're shooting films and you're shooting against a budget, or you're shooting with people that don't know how to shoot. You want to shoot outdoors.
Yeah.
And the reason is because everything's a little bit easier. You have a lot of room. Your continuity doesn't have problems. You don't have problems with lighting.
Sound, like that one scene.
Yeah, that's exactly, like when they went from the house to the kitchen.
Yeah,
and the kitchen sounded like they were.
It was very hollow.
It was very hollow, and
kind of like this where we're recording right now.
Exactly. Well, and there are so many ways to get around that, of course. But when you're an amateur filmmaker, you don't think about sound. Sound, as long as you have a guy with a microphone up there, or you have some kind of input coming in, you go, well, that's great for sound. Yeah, well, that's just not the way it works. So,
coming from your angle, where you've worked in Hollywood and you've worked on horror movies,
mm-hmm.
there was no good qualities in those. In my
there was
opinion.
there was. Well, I mean,
Texas Chainsaw Guy with a scuba mask.
Yeah, but he wasn't playing those scenes. Certainly for horror, everybody surrounds the truck on a wide shot, and then
right.
they start to chew the guy up in the back of the shot, and then stop at that point, and it was like, okay, well, yeah, but where's the?
It was like two things at once too. So
yeah,
it was two different characters from two different movies coming out of this one guy.
Exactly, and it didn't make any sense, and there was no thought as to how you would film, what shots you would use in order to hide. There was no misdirection anywhere, that would actually scare you, and I suppose that's not really what they were doing.
No sound either, like
and the sound was
when somebody appeared from nowhere. There was it was just kind of like, oh, they just panned over.
Well, exactly, and really, it didn't look like a horrible guy with a chainsaw. It looked like a guy with a chainsaw that was kind of maybe he was looking for a tree. But maybe his neighbor would be okay. He just looked like
he was from Portland.
It looked yeah, exactly. It just looked like a guy that wanted to run around with a chainsaw.
So, what I really like, scary movie. Remember those movies?
Yeah, exactly.
That was well done.
Exactly, and and the thing is it was done by using misdirection in the shots, using devices like people appearing behind other people in the same shot, going all the way around and coming back to the same spot.
But they were quick scenes too.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly. And knowing how to choreograph. There was no choreography in this film.
Well, I feel like this was made by a guy who'd never really seen any horror movies. Or maybe it's been a long time.
It seemed like it was a guy who had never even gone as far as to read a book.
Wow, that says a lot. Well, what's amazing, though, is if you watch... I could direct you to a couple of his dramas that were amazing, but I'm not going to mention them right now.
Okay.
But yeah, the one I'm thinking of was the stage play that he turned into a film, and actually, I thought it was pretty good.
Now,
how can we wrap up this real quick?
You know what? Medea, Boo 2... was practically unwatchable.
I'd give it kind of a boo.
I would give it a boo, yeah. 2 boos straight down. It was incompetently filmed, but that's okay because it was all so badly acted.
Yes. There was one good actress, maybe. Well, marginal. She was a Disney actress is what I was saying. The girl that played Tiffany, I thought was one of the strongest actresses.
No,
and
absolutely.
Adults are generally better,
right? And the adults are generally, but the kids are. And might I say that there did seem to be an awful lot of 30 to 40-year-old college students in it.
Well, I think he probably did that intentionally, because there's a lot of movies like that where there's like a Happy Death Day, Friend Request, all those movies. There's some characters always that are way too old.
Yes.
You know it.
Yes.
As soon as they walk on the screen.
But all the boys were too old and the girls were too young.
I'm wondering if he did it on purpose, or maybe it's just...
Back in the day, back when the boys were old and the girls were too young.
Yeah, it was... I don't know. I felt like comfortable watching it because I was like,
yeah,
okay,
it was. Yeah,
I have to sit here through this.
It was something like voyeuristically watching.
So in a nutshell, I haven't seen Boo 1,
bad,
but
yeah,
I just wouldn't bother with this
bad,
one probably.
You know, it was bad movie porn.
Even if you're a Tyler Perry fan, which I am.
Yeah.
I was disappointed.
Okay, well, then
there you go.
I'm with you.
I was surprised.
Now, I have to say, I did work on a really awful film. Like that I
was going to ask you.
For some reason, this was reminding me.
Is this story time?
It's story time. It is story time. It is story time.
Story time.
Story time.
It's story time with Miq.
Story time with Miq.
Story time with Miq.
Story time with Miq. Story time with Miq. Story time with Miq.
Story time with Miq.
This was actually reminded me of being on a film called Dead Men Don't Die. And this was I came in to help with the art department because they were completely floundering. This was a guy who owned a string of mattress warehouses in LA. Yes.
Oh.
And he got together the money to make his own movie, and some of the disasters that were involved. That's
a movie in itself.
Yeah, they had a three-wheeled cart, three-wheeled Volkswagen that the guy that rented it to us said, be careful because every once in a while the throttle's stuck. But they didn't tell me that. They said, but it was running really bad. They said, well, you know what, you're going to have to take that thing down to a mechanic's and get it tuned up. And so I took it around the block over to a mechanic, and I was coming into the bay, and the throttle stuck at wide open and just slammed right into the bay. And it was a
awesome.
Disaster. And but there, it's the only film that I've been on where they were filming across town, and we were filming in a warehouse, or not it actually was. It was a warehouse in the downtown area, and the next place that we were going to go, we were getting kicked out of the warehouse, and I mean physically kicked out of the warehouse. And they said, okay, we're in trouble. You're going to have to go dress that Beverly Hills location. Right. And I was like, okay, well, and so I grabbed the paintings and stuff to create the office, and I jammed across town. It was about noon, and so I jammed across town, and we dress, we hang paintings, and we get the desks moved in and all the rest of this, and we were ready to go by 2:00, and nobody shows up. And then 4:00 goes by, nobody shows up. 6:00 goes by, 6:30 goes by. We can't. These were the days before cell phones. Right. And 6:30, some PA comes straggling in to our location and says, "Yeah, we're not going to be able to film down here." And I go, "Well, why?" And he goes, "Well, we stopped on the way across town. The producer decided that we were going to stop and steal a shot in a park." And I said, "In Beverly Hills, huh?" And he goes, "Yeah, how'd you know? In Beverly Hills." And I go, "Yeah." And they came out and they arrested the whole freaking bunch, didn't they? And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Yeah, you kind of watch out for that." Right. And so evidently most of the film crew spent the day in the jail.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There you go.
Well, at least you got out of that.
Well, sometimes you get that.
you got lucky there.
Yeah, I did. But nobody was lucky on that film. Elliot Gould was kind of the quote-unquote star on it, and I'm not 100% sure that it ever got released. My son did make really good friends with Elliot Gould, and they hung around on set all day long.
Was that when he was he was working on the set, wasn't he?
Yeah, Ian worked on the set every once in a while. Yeah, I mean he was 12, but and by worked I mean he was there and drinking sodas a lot.
Well, that's,
that's,
I mean, if you took me on a set, I'd probably do that.
Yeah, actually, this film was so bad that it was called Dead Men Don't Die, and a police officer actually died while doing escort duty for our filming going down the road. So So, it was a complete disaster, and I would like to think that these people on Boo 2 had
Let's just hope nobody
a
died.
slightly better. Yeah, I'm just hoping that nobody died on that
Right,
thing.
yeah.
Somebody went crazy with the chainsaw and accidentally, cut a cameraman in half. And I know how that can happen, but I'm just hoping it didn't.
Well, don't be surprised if you see that one girl in a Disney film.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
can't remember. I don't know her name. I'm gonna cut it in later. Don't be surprised if you see Diamond White in a Disney film.
On a Disney film. Yes. Okay.
I'm gonna cut that in. Like, make a different voice so it sounds like I did it on purpose. But I was
Okay.
curious about if you've ever done any scene in a horror movie, or like a scene that just wasn't working, that ended up being cut out, or it was just horrible and you didn't want to be.
Oh, well, let me tell you about on Nightmare on Elm Street 4. We did a scene with Tuesday Night, and it it was one shot to be done all night long. And it was, we had built the Elm Street house for Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was a facade because we wanted to light behind it, and we actually did it on a vacant lot. And we had tracks built that we built all the way over the house that brought another house in front of it, so that we could do a single shot with her coming out of that house, looking down on a shot. She walks out. She looks down. She hears something. The camera looks down on the ground, and we see a chalk drawing of the Nightmare house on the sidewalk. And she hears Freddy behind her. She looks up. The camera now comes back up, and now she's actually in front of the Elm Street house because we rolled the other house away. She runs straight towards the camera, which is now running towards the street. The camera is dolling backwards as she's running straight towards it, and goes inside of the hallway that is built across the street. That's one of the Nightmare on Elm Street hallways. And as she come into the hallway, you see the Nightmare on Elm Street door slam down, and it slams down. And that's it. And that sequence took all night to get. In one shot. It was an incredibly difficult shot. We finally got it. 2 weeks later, the editor comes by and is walking by my desk, and I'm in the office, and he takes a little roll of film, about like this, and he just plops it down on my desk. He goes, "That's for you." I go, "What is that?" And he goes, "Well, that's that sequence, that one-shot sequence that you were so hot on."
Oh, God.
That you worked so hard on.
That's
I go,
that's awesome.
"Are you kidding me?" And he goes, "Yeah, it just didn't fit into the film, and they were rewriting it as we were shooting it, and they wrote her out."
Ugh.
And that was it. That scene didn't fit anymore. So
They did use that though at some point.
No,
I remember the chalk drawing on the sidewalk.
the chalk drawing,
Yeah.
actually we did shoot another couple of days there as the front of the house and doing the chalk drawing and stuff like
Right.
that, but we didn't do that sequence.
scene.
That sequence
That sounds
is
pretty awesome,
gone.
actually.
It was actually an amazing sequence, and it was really, really cool, but we were having a lot of trouble writing the film itself, and that just wasn't the direction that anybody wanted to go. My personal feeling is that the director was hot and heavy on Lisa, who had taken over the role from I'm completely forgetting Lisa Wilcox. And Lisa Wilcox was fabulous, and Tuesday Night was supposed to be the star. And I think that in the middle of filming, I think that being as we were rewriting everything from scratch every damn day, I think that it just got written because he was a little bit hot on her. And
That's interesting.
we went that way. That's the way things happen in Hollywood.
That's too bad because it was before.
But you know what? Unlike Tyler Perry, we take panic like that, and we actually make good-looking films out of it.
Yes. Well, I think actually it seems like, from what it sounds like, a lot of the films you worked on were better when you were under duress and rewriting as you go.
I wouldn't know. I've never been in a
have a
situation
script.
where I wasn't under duress.
We don't have a script. We don't know what we're doing here.
It happened like that an awful lot. We were professionals.
See, I just wish that there were DVDs back then, because this would be an awesome bonus footage. Like, basically, that scene would be an awesome bonus.
Yeah, it would be, but
So you still
I
have
don't.
the film on your pocket somewhere?
I have no idea where it went.
Well, if you find it, yes.
Yeah, well,
We'll put it somewhere.
Well, sure.
I'll tell you where to put it.
Yeah, please don't do that.
No, that's good. I'm glad I asked you that question because that was a good story.
Very good. Okay. Well, so, boo to you, to Madea.
Yes. I'm going to have to cleanse myself and watch something that's entertaining.
Jeez, it's just like, so you're going to go watch Mother again?
I'm going to watch one of the old Madea movies.
Oh, okay.
Like, maybe
Gotcha.
one of the family reunion ones. Or
you don't want to watch Mother again?
Mother, I feel like we actually should do a review on that.
An actual review.
I don't know if that involves watching it again, though. I hope to God no. But I think maybe our memory might serve us well. I don't know. Because there's parts that I can't forget. And
yeah, please.
And I can't forget the feeling I had either.
Oh, icky.
So, but Boo actually, okay, I'll draw a comparison.
Okay.
Between Boo, Madea, and Mother.
Right. Okay.
So, Mother, I felt like I was being pinned down and attacked in all of my orifices all at once.
But only for about 10 minutes.
Yes.
Because before that, you were bored as hell for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Before that, I was just sitting there doing my nails.
Exactly.
Okay,
well, yeah, I know. And then all of a sudden,
somebody's pinning me down, and I have stuff going in every hole, and I'm screaming, and blood's coming out of my eyes, and I'm like, make it stop, make it stop. So this
stuff going in every hole. I really like that.
I was sitting in Boo Madea going, I'm uncomfortable. When is this scene going to end?
That's exactly. When are these people going to stop talking?
Why am I standing there talking and there's a guy coming out of it? I mean,
you know what? From the point of view of just torture to your soul, it did go on a lot longer with Madea than it did with Mother. Mother was, just a long period of boredom followed by just the most horrible 10 minutes you ever had in your life.
It's probably what it's like for a girl to be on a really bad date and then have the guy attack her all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. At the very end. Yeah. Jeez.
Oh, anyway. So we're doing a review on Mother now, it sounds like. But,
yeah, there we go.
That'll be coming up. So, yeah. If anybody wants to hear that, send us an email.
Nobody.
Our 3 listeners out there.
Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear this.
Well, we have some followers, and I appreciate them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate my followers.
Yeah. What's weird is my followers are mostly my relatives.
Yeah, none of my relatives are going to watch or listen to this at all.
Well, I don't know
they know better by this point.
Yeah, that's true. Mine don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
We're done.
Yes.
Okay.